Coming up tonight on the OC News, all those activities we've been waiting months to enjoy are now available. Think dining out, movie theaters, and theme parks will have all the details as Orange County moves into the red tier. And you're not imagining things. Yes, gas prices continue to climb day after day. Also, the U.S. rushes to distribute COVID vaccine. European countries are slowing theirs. We'll find out why Beyonce makes history at the Grammys. All this, plus the Dodgers are planning for their opening day with fans. OC News starts right now. Welcome and thank you for joining us at OC News. I'm Sandy Ramirez. OC News is brought to you by broadcast journalism students at Cal State Fullerton. All those activities we've been waiting to enjoy are all opening up again. That means dining out or taking in a movie. Orange County is now in the red tier for COVID-19, and that's especially good news for many small business owners. OC News reporter Alina Macias joins us in the studio. Alina?
Happy Monday for many people living in Southern California. Today is the first day of Orange and Los Angeles and San Bernardino counties to reopen their gyms and movie theaters and indoor dining once again. As of Sunday, about 2 million people have received their COVID vaccines, allowing these counties to move to red tier instead of purple. Even though Los Angeles and Orange counties are in the red tier, people are still required to wear masks in small and crowded spaces. Now these counties move to red tier, many small businesses and restaurants are hoping to welcome more people into establishments. Museums and zoos and aquariums are also reopening by allowing 25% of capacity for indoor activities. Gyms, dance, and yoga studios can operate indoors with a 10% capacity. This is a big step for many Southern Californians as they get closer to fully operating and returning back to normal. And sports events will be allowed to operate on April 1st. Restrictions and rules will vary based on schools and also got the green light to allow students to go back into classrooms from grade K to 10. Each school district, however, will make their own decisions whether or not to bring students back into in-person learning. Theme parks like Disneyland and Universal Studios can open their doors by allowing a capacity of 50% for in-state visitors only. Rides and attractions will remain closed until further notice. Guests also need to purchase the tickets in advance and make reservations to visit these major theme parks. Even though Los Angeles and Orange County has relaxed some of the restrictions, officials advise that the public still needs to take precautions going out. COVID-19 is not completely away and still holds a threat to people. Officials want people to remind people to wear masks and keep a safe distance from catching each other. For businesses in Riverside and Ventura counties, they may be able to reopen the doors as early as Wednesday if they move to red tier. And that's it for me. Back to you, Sandy.
As deaths peak due to COVID-19, America gears up to stop the staggering increase of lives taken. President Joe Biden hopes to provide inspiration to Americans to increase the morale of citizens. As more vaccines continue to roll out, more places are opening. Deaths are on the decline and positive cases are also decreasing. Places to eat are beginning to open their doors back up. Crystal Galaus has more.
This month marks exactly 1 year since the World Health Organization declared the coronavirus outbreak a pandemic. Biden praises the nation's resilience and prepares for the challenges the novel coronavirus poses. Crossing continents, the virus has infected more than 118 million people and claimed the lives of more than 2.6 million lives around the globe. Starting today, restaurants in LA County can start allowing their customers to dine inside. Thousands of restaurant owners rejoice as the strict COVID restrictions finally loosen. Today, more than 11 million Californians have the COVID vaccination, allowing counties like LA and San Bernardino to reopen. Because California has reached its goal of vaccinations, restaurants now have the green light to fully open up shop.
A 71-year-old man is under arrest after plowing his car through a homeless encampment in San Diego. The morning crash killed 3 people and left another 6 injured, 2 critically. The driver was heading under a tunnel near San Diego City when it veered onto the sidewalk, hitting 2 people sleeping in tents. Craig Voss was arrested at the scene among other charges. Voss faced a felony of a DUI. Ambulances, fire engines, and a helicopter responded at the scene. Governor Newsom is facing a recall over 2 million signatures. The recall has gained momentum over the past few months due to his handling of COVID-19. Californians have signed a petition to recall Newsom out of office. Newsom finally commented this morning about his recall on Twitter. Newsom is blaming anti-vaxxers and Republicans for this recall. He states, "I won't be distracted by this partisan Republican recall, but I will fight it. There is too much at stake. Getting Californians vaccinated, our economy safely reopened, and our school kids back are simply too important to risk." Gas prices are going back up. In fact, they have been going up for quite a while and don't show signs of stopping. With prices quickly approaching $3 per gallon, Republicans have been quick to blame Joe Biden. However, experts say that other outside forces can be blamed. The snowstorms, for example, in Texas has slowed down production and were forced to shut down. Also, policies that have the power to affect gas in the future, such as rejoining the Paris Climate Agreement, as well as Biden's commitment to cut out the country's carbon emissions. It's been a few days since President Joe Biden signed the American Rescue Act. Today, he announced how the $1.9 trillion relief bill will be laid out. CNN reporter Phil Manley has the story.
Shots in arms and money in pockets.
With stimulus checks already hitting bank accounts, President Biden now in an all-out sprint to promote the $1.9 trillion COVID relief law.
The American Rescue Plan is already doing what it was designed to do, make a difference in people's everyday lives.
And ensure there are no errors as it's put into place.
The devil is in the details.
Biden naming Gene Sperling, a top economic official in the last 2 Democratic administrations, to oversee the law's implementation.
Gene will be on the phone with mayors and governors, red states, blue states, the source of constant communication, a source of guidance and support, and above all, a source of accountability.
All as Biden's team hopscotches states around the country over the next week, with Vice President Kamala Harris and Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff heading to Nevada, First Lady Jill Biden in New Jersey, and Biden himself joining the blitz with 2 trips in the coming days. A highly coordinated effort to promote elements of the new law, from the stimulus payments to the housing aid to the small business funding.
President Biden has directed the administration to deliver the 2 things that will most hasten our ability to recover: checks and shots. And as he said, help is on the way.
But when it comes to vaccine hesitancy, Biden says former President Trump telling his supporters to get the shot will make less of a difference.
The thing that has more impact than anything Trump would say to the MAGA folks is what the local doctor, what the local preachers, what the local people in the community say.
All as the administration continues to grapple with a growing crisis at the southern border.
We recognize this is a big problem.
With thousands of unaccompanied minors in custody, the administration's promise for a more humane approach to the border is being tested in a major way.
This is a big challenge, and it certainly is a reflection of using every lever of the federal government to help address that.
Governor Newsom isn't the only one in the hot seat. On the other side of the country, New York Governor Cuomo is also in hot water.
New Yorkers are protesting against Governor Cuomo to resign over sexual allegations. Governor Cuomo is in the hot seat once again after several women have publicly stepped forward claiming sexual harassment from Cuomo.
He is a textbook abuser.
Bennett's former aide said that she's willing to testify. Former Cuomo's employee, Annalise, stepped forward for her sexual harassment claim.
I'm not going to speak for any other women's experiences. I just know that there were activities that happened that if the public knew about it, they would be really shocked and appalled. I believe that it was systemic and it was the culture.
Aisha Sherman and her family are disappointed New Yorkers. They all hope for Cuomo to resign against these allegations.
Yes, he was a great governor. Of course, everyone makes mistakes, but also you can't say certain things or do certain things to people and not expect for them to retaliate or to say something and you possibly get in trouble for it. So, I think he should.
Top Democrats, such as Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Mayor de Blasio of New York, are asking Cuomo to resign.
I just don't see how he can govern effectively when fewer and fewer people believe him.
AOC and Jamal Bowman are asking for his resignation as well.
Everyone in power has a power struggle, and I don't think it's right. And I guess he didn't expect for the women to actually come out and say it or take it as seriously as he did, because he apologized, but it was a very shallow apology.
Cuomo is refusing to resign. Here is what he has to say about it.
People know the difference between playing politics, bowing to cancel culture, and the truth. Let the review proceed. I'm not going to resign. Part of this is that I am not part of the political club. And you know what? I'm proud of it.
This is still a developing story. Brianna Collins, OC News.
Turning now to news abroad. What started as a civil uprising quickly turned into the world's largest humanitarian refugee crises of our time. Here's CNN's international war correspondent, Ben Wiedemann, with more on the 10-year anniversary of Syria's civil war.
Al-Assad, or we burn the country, regime loyalists like to chant. And over the last 10 years, as Syria has plummeted deeper into the abyss, the country has burned, and President Bashar al-Assad has clung to power. An uprising that started peacefully has left as many as 500,000 dead by some estimates. The United Nations gave up counting 5 years ago. More than half the population has been driven from their homes or has fled the country. Unwilling to concede that his dynastic regime and decades of oppression were to blame, Assad called it a foreign conspiracy. And indeed, the uprising has become a multinational bloodbath. The U.S. and its Gulf allies initially provided the divided opposition with just enough money and weapons to keep fighting, but never enough to win. And the failure of that opposition opened the door to ISIS and its brutal brand of madness, which brought American and European boots to Syrian soil. Iran and Lebanese Hezbollah came to Assad's aid, followed by the full might of Russia. Turkey also joined the fray, along with Israel. Syria today is a kaleidoscope of conflicts, pitting superpowers, regional powers, local powers against one another, now in a stalemate. A quagmire where it has become costly to stay, perhaps even more costly to leave. Dreams of freedom faded long ago. Syrian-American author and journalist Alia Malik witnessed the early years of the conflict.
Order and stability, I think, have emerged as things that are more important to the international community than the messiness of a true sort of open or democratic society. The fear of ISIS type Islamist militants. It psychologically terrorizes people more than the idea of like a butcher in an Armani suit.
The official Syrian media portrays Assad's survival as a victory that has left him ruling over just part of his devastated country, a traumatized population, and an economy in freefall due to corruption and sanctions. If this is victory, what is defeat? Ben Wiedemann, CNN, Beirut.
A conservative statement published by the Vatican created a significant setback to Catholic LGBTQ members and advocates around the world. The Vatican announced today that the Catholic Church will not bless same-sex unions, calling homosexuality a choice and sin that, quote, cannot be recognized as objectively ordered to the revealed plans of God. Pope Francis, who has advocated for same-sex civil union laws, has been praised for his acceptance and love towards the LGBT community, both inside and outside the Church. The Vatican strongly disagrees with the Pope and has said no change in doctrine has been made. This decision by the Church is a huge deconstruction of any progress made toward modernizing acceptance of same-sex couples. Over a third of European countries are joining in to halt or suspend University Oxford's AstraZeneca's global vaccination for COVID-19 after blood clots were found in patients. Increasing concerns have risen over Oxford's AstraZeneca's vaccine. A 49-year-old woman died in Austria from a blood coagulation. This furthered many countries' ban of the usage, while others proceed with caution. It is critical to note that no direct link was found that would indicate these occurrences were a result of the vaccine. It has been known that there is no evidence for an increase of pulmonary embolism or deep thrombosis from their vaccine. The European Medicines Agency has launched a review but advises vaccines to continue. After the break, information about how Disneyland will safely reopen, plus weather and insight to big entertainment award shows. Spring break has finally kicked off, which means people are starting to travel again. More than 5.2 million passengers have gone through the airport since Thursday. With Florida being an open state, young people are celebrating their spring break there. Hundreds of people have gathered in Miami over the weekend with crowded beaches and bars. Over 100 people were arrested. Mayor Dan Gilbert stated that people in South Beach are not safe because of overcrowding. Airline travel has gone up over this past weekend. Whether it is for vaccinating or work, our reporter Brianna Collins has more on this story.
As COVID-19 guidelines are becoming more lenient, more people are starting to travel again. Air travel has been the highest it's ever been since last March, whether it's vacationing or for working. Tristan Carter, who is a TSA agent, works at one of the largest airports in Baltimore. He says that the airports has been seeing an increase in travel in the past few weeks.
airport, which is a Category X airport, meaning it's one of the largest, category of airports, we would see thousands of people come in an hour. There's a lot of people that come in through the airport, whereas now you would probably be lucky to see 3,000 come in at a time in a day. So the numbers definitely have changed drastically.
Dave Yambo has been traveling before and all through COVID for work. Traveling for him is necessary.
Travel for work because during this time, during COVID, we have had to downsize our company in terms of locations. So in order to do that, we also had to get equipment out of the office and return to our main office. And then also making sure that for whoever sublets or rents next in the next spaces, they're good to go when they move in.
It is still highly important to wear a mask, social distance, and wash your hands, and not to travel when feeling sick.
As the administration, we have come down with this federal mandate, and we do not allow people to go through the checkpoint without some kind of face mask or covering.
Saying if they're not well enough to be traveling or they don't want to be adhering to any sort of guidelines, they shouldn't be risking going out. And it's simple as that.
Brianna Collins, OC News.
It's been a year since the happiest place on earth shut its doors, but Disney's fans can expect to return to the park very soon. California theme parks can reopen on April 1st as long as they're located in LA County. That reaches the red tier. Disney CEO Bob Chapek said that Disney parks will reopen in late April. While Disney fans are excited to head back to the park, some perks won't be available. Some of them include the Fast Pass, which allows guests to wait in shorter lines, the Max Pass, which is digital counterpart, and extra magic hours, which allow hotel guests to enter the park early. Earlier this year, Disneyland announced that due to the uncertainty of COVID-19, their annual passport program would be soon shut down. Some light drizzles earlier today, but what's in store for this week? Adam Miranda has your 5-day forecast.
Thank you, Sandy. As you can see right now, we're currently sitting at 58 degrees, but it's probably feeling a lot colder because of that 16-mile-per-hour winds. Now, if you really want to catch sunset, it's down at 7 p.m., so grab those sweaters and see it. It's amazing, really. Now on to your 5-day forecast. Now, the rest of the week is going to look primarily the same. You're going to be in the low 60s to mid 70s. But on Friday right here, 70 degrees. It's going to look a little bit warmer, but it's actually not. It's going to be cold the very next day on Saturday. The rest of the nights are going to be reaching at 40 degrees, so grab those jackets, bundle up. And that's it for your weekly 5-day forecast. Back to you, Sandy.
Now, let's check in with Angelina, who has the latest in music and film. Angelina?
Music's biggest award show was last night. The 2021 Grammys broadcast live from downtown LA, with Trevor Noah hosting the COVID-safe show. The 2021 Grammys delivered amazing performances, and some of your favorite artists took home the coveted Grammy. Let's take a look at some highlights. Harry Styles kicked off the show with a performance of Watermelon Sugar, which would later win the award for Best Pop Solo Performance. This is Harry's very first Grammy win. Billie Eilish gave a soothing rendition of her hit song, Everything I Wanted, and once again repeated her Grammy winning streak. Everything I Wanted won the Grammy for Record of the Year. Megan Thee Stallion took home 3 awards, 2 for her Savage remix with Beyoncé and for Best New Artist. Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B, and Dua Lipa slayed their performances with their backup dancers wearing masks. Taylor Swift took to the stage and also took home a Grammy for her album for Album of the Year for Folklore. Swift is the first woman to win the award 3 times. In memoriam, those who have passed away in the last year were honored last night. Music legends Kenny Rogers, John Prine, and Little Richard were among those honored. Her took home the Grammy for Song of the Year for her song I Can't Breathe, and Miranda Lambert won for Best Country Album. The end to an amazing night, Beyoncé made history as the most awarded singer of any gender, winning her 28th Grammy last night.
So I wanted to uplift, encourage, and celebrate all of the beautiful Black queens and kings that continue to inspire me and inspire the whole world.
Not just one, but 2 award shows have made headlines this week. Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra Jonas announced the nominations for the 93rd Academy Awards this morning from London to highlight outstanding achievements in the film industry. Some of the nominees include Best Actress and Actor in a Leading Role, Best Actor and Actress in a Supporting Role, Best Original Song, Best Picture, and Directing. Who runs the world? That's right, girls. This year's Oscars are a record-breaking one for women. 70 women received 76 nominations in total, a record for a given year, according to the Academy. Adding to the National Women's Month, Emerald Fennell and Chloe Zhao were nominated in the directing category, making it the first time 2 women have been nominated in the category. Zhao is also the first woman of color to be nominated for the category. With the Oscars' issue of diversity, it is worth noting that 3 Black men were nominated for Best Supporting Actor. The late Chadwick Boseman also received a nomination for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, a film which was released after his death. As always, a number of actors and films have been snubbed for a nomination. Regina King was a shoo-in for a nomination for Best Director for her work on One Night in Miami, while Black Bottom did not receive a nomination for Best Picture, despite its nomination in 5 other categories. Other nominations announced were Best Screenplay, Best Animated Film, and Best Cinematography. The Oscars will be honoring the best films released between January 1st, 2020 and February 28th, 2021. The 93rd Oscars will be airing on Sunday, April 25th on ABC. Sending it back to you, Sandy.
Thanks, Angelina. Still to come, find out which NFL star decides that their career is over, and later find out which car company ends their test program.
You could be spreading the coronavirus without realizing you have it, so do your part and stay home. It's important to limit in-person interaction with anyone outside of your immediate household, but phone and video chat are safe ways to connect. It's also important to limit social gatherings. If you need essential items like food and medicine, try using a delivery service. If you must leave your house for essential items, or if you want to take a walk for exercise, make sure to wear a cloth face covering. Stay at least 6 feet away from other people. Try not to frequently touch surfaces like light signals, street signs, or benches. And wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. It takes all of us to slow the spread of the coronavirus, so stay home unless absolutely necessary. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Welcome back to OC News. Now I'm sending it over to Jacob for all the sports talk on the block.
Thank you, Sandy. Good news for all you Dodger fans, as Dodger Stadium announces they will be open to fans at 20% capacity come opening day. The iconic phrase, "It's time for Dodger baseball," will finally be heard by fans again at Chavez Ravine as the Los Angeles County received approval on Friday to move into the red tier, allowing the Los Angeles Dodgers to sell 20% of their seats. This would calculate into approximately 11,000 seats being sold per game for the 2021 season. So expect these to sell out quick, as fans have been deprived of baseball for almost 2 years. But don't worry, you season ticket holders. The Dodgers announced that you will receive priority and will explain how the rest of the tickets will be allocated sometime next week. An end of an era struck the football world yesterday as future NFL Hall of Famer Drew Brees retired and said goodbye to football. Dr. Seuss said it best, "Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened." And that is the quintessential quote to say in referring to the football legend's retirement. The world found out about the news after Brees himself posted an Instagram video of his kids revealing the big news. His kids seemed to be the most joyful about the decision, as they were quoted saying, "Now he gets to spend more time with us." In Breeze's 20-year career, he captured several milestones, including becoming the first to throw 80,000 yards in NFL history, as well as being the first to 7,000 completions. Breeze definitely left his legacy on the field. In local news, conference play is officially underway for your Cal State Fullerton baseball and softball teams this weekend. A very important weekend is coming up for these two teams as they look to set the tone for the rest of the season. Titans baseball looks to get things going as they take a 4-10 record into conference play, as they are set to play a 4-game series against UC Santa Barbara this weekend. These boys are looking to make a statement in the Big West as they have underachieved the last 2 seasons. Softball, on the other hand, looks to keep things going as the girls are taking a 15-11 record into conference play as they take on a 3-game series against UC Davis Saturday and Sunday. These two clubs look to be on top of the Big West once again, and the dogfight begins this weekend. Now, back to you, Sandy.
Thanks, Jacob. In technology news, Elon Musk released some more information about their self-driving beta program through his usual platform of Twitter. Plus, a popular TikTok personality whose mission to save the bees has got the internet buzzing. Then we'll tell you how eating pizza for dinner could win you a Pac-Man arcade cabinet. Jensen has more on tech.
Some Tesla drivers have had their fully self-driving beta access taken away for not paying enough attention to the road. Elon Musk tweeted this over the weekend without specifying how many people were cut from the program. Regardless, it doesn't seem to be deterring the company in making strides toward an autonomous driving future. The beta was started in October 2020, and Tesla has plans to expand it to more drivers. In a tweet, Musk said that they would double the testing size with the next update. Drivers who have beta access are able to drive hands-free and on public roads, something that the National Transportation Safety Board has expressed concerns over this past February. The board called for more restrictions as they believe simply telling drivers to stay attentive may not be enough. Erica Thompson is taking the world by storm with her TikTok channel dedicated to saving the bees. Based in Austin, Texas, Thompson makes house calls to wherever a large amount of bees have been taken root. From trees to sides of buildings, her goal is to remove the bees safely and humanely in order to preserve their population. It is a profession that clearly is not for the faint of heart, but for an experienced handler like herself, it is second nature. She rarely even wears gloves or a bee suit in her videos, citing the bees' calm nature. Thompson has nearly 4 million followers on TikTok, and she was recently called to remove a colony of bees from superstar Jason Derulo's home. Her videos are addicting, but Thompson also hopes that they will educate people who may be afraid of bees and show them the importance of protecting them. Pac-Man comes home in a surprising new way. Thanks to a new promotion, customers who order from Pizza Hut can play the classic arcade game straight off their pizza box. All you have to do is scan the QR code printed on the box with your smartphone. It will open up an alternative reality game on the phone that is visible by pointing your camera at the top of the box. It's only possible to give the game a go when buying a large pizza from the chain. However, you have the opportunity to get more from your purchase. Players can post their final scores to Twitter and get entered in a chance to win one arcade Pac-Man cabinet. That's all for me. I'm going to go ahead and send it back to Sandy.
Thanks, Jensen. That's going to do it for us here tonight at OC News. But remember, the news never stops. Be sure to follow us at all of our social media accounts at OC News CSUF. Have a good night. We'll see you back here on Wednesday night at 5 p.m. From all of us here at OC News, I'm Sandy Ramirez. Stay safe and healthy. Have a great night.